Welcome back, everybody, to Hxro Labs Live. We're testing out a new platform today, so that's cool. Still getting that intro music in my ear for the record, producer. I don't mind it. Is that going to be in the stream? You guys hear it? Ooh, now it's much quieter. That's dope. Okay. Welcome back. I'm a little hazy today, jet lagged from my week away in Utah, which was pretty dope. I'll talk a little bit about it. I don't know how exciting it will be for anyone watching, but it was really cool. Yeah, I will talk about it. Basically, I was out in the mountain with a bunch of people. There's about 17 people there, a well-curated guest list for a 1-week stay at the largest lodge in the United States of America. Something like 29,000 square feet. There was a pool. There was a massage therapist brought in for the week. There was a private chef. And it was about, main thing was hot seats. Like sit there, talk about what you're working on, what your issues are. And everyone kind of helps each other out. Founders, there was a Navy SEAL there, ex-Navy SEAL, super elite dude. Very cool. Ultra marathon runner. There's been Olympians. And this is all through a mindset coach who I work with as a trader. Somebody, actually Keyboard Monkey on Twitter, put out a little promo for him, just saying that he was awesome and he had worked with him. He started working with poker players, high stakes poker players, and then he expanded his horizon, this mindset coach, into founders, entrepreneurs, high performers of any particular field. And it's all about leveling up your game. And I think that's a really good thing to be focused on during this bear market, taking some of the profits of the past bull and applying them to self-growth. Elliott Rowe. So I was hanging out with Elliott Rowe in Utah last week, and it was just a vibe. It was a vibe. I came back feeling rejuvenated, fired up, not exactly healthy. I got a cough. Yeah. So I work with Elliott Rowe. Producers in the chat sharing some insight. And there was actually a handful of poker pros there, and I taught them Ontario 3-card, which is a poker game, mixed game, that mixes 5-card draw, 7-card stud, and Texas Hold'em, elements of all three of those into this game called Ontario 3-card. And we sat down and played a $500 match. It was fun. We didn't get to finish it. I ended up being down like $250. One of the guys was down $1,000 though. He rebought. So I outperformed one of the poker pros. But anyways, it was fun, and got a bit of a cough, probably from one of those babies downstairs. But anyways, looking at charts today, I'm short for the record. Nothing major, just a little short here around the highs today. Not close enough to the highs that I could go any bigger, but I got a 10 Bitcoin short on because, first of all, I don't love it, and I never love my shorts. That's why I'm not very good at shorting. I always feel like they're not great because you typically take them when things are going up, and I always think things are going up are going to just keep going up. But here's a little quick thought on why I'm short here today, and it's super important to just maintain the obvious, which is that I will make more money if number go up, but I will lose less money if number go down now because of this position, which would get stopped out at 27.5. So with volatility potentially coming in this week with the FOMC, and I think there's a CPI print, something like that, I could expect some volatility. Typically, look, and it might be a Kopi short because I was looking at this. If we made a new low here on daily bull div, I thought that's a decent spot to be the end of that correction, which was about a 60-day correction from high to low. Which interestingly is almost the exact amount of time we had from the last correction, 62 days. Don't know what that means, but it aligns. And anyways, it was Monday as I arrived in Utah at this lodge for this week, and I looked at it and I was like, damn, here's that long I wanted to take. And then I thought, I don't really want to sit in any kind of trade this week. I'm here, I'm in the mountains, I'm focusing on all this other stuff. So I didn't take it, much to my chagrin, because it was an excellent entry, and it actually hung out down there for quite a few hours, about 9 to be exact. So it was like 10 a.m. I'm in the car, I'm driving to the mountains, I get settled into my spot right around here, and it had just made a new low on a bull div on the hourly. anyways, all things considered, I looked at it and I decided I just don't really want to trade, have a trade open this week. And that sucks. Later that night, it popped up and I was like, oh, damn, that was a deviation. Looks like we're going to head higher for a bit. So just keep that in mind. The cope that could be at play with me taking a little short here. But yeah, we're at a high time frame trend line resistance. There's really no bull to be seen just yet. There's definitely some brewing volume, which is always nice to see. But with what we have coming up, particularly tomorrow, I feel like any move back above here is invalidating this short idea. And that's really easy for me to get out. So it's almost more like, is there a trade I can take here? It's certainly not a long. It's like a weak-ish short. But again, I always think the shorts I'm in are weak. So I'm not letting that cloud my judgment. We have 4-hour bear divs beginning to form. We have hourly bear divs beginning to form. Basically, like the momentum's just indicators stop moving up here. And depending on which exchange you look at, there's some nice volume. So I expect to be stopped out on this trade. But if I'm not, and we do roll down here and the FOMC sucks and everything sucks, I'll have a slight hedge on. And if we move higher, well, I've got plenty of exposure through things like crypto stocks, Mara, Riot, and a little Galaxy and Coin. Got a big bag of Coin. So I've got tons of what's basically been acting as high beta Bitcoin exposure. Through this move here, Bitcoin moved up like 7%, Mara moved up 29%, Coin moved up 13%. Riot moved up 26%. So I don't feel like I need to hold a lot of Bitcoin given my crypto stock exposure. So just, I think it's good to give that kind of context when you're in a trade, especially if it's a super lame trade, like a short. I don't like being in shorts. But just for the record, I did strap on a little short. Where was it? Up here. Not great. I mean, it wasn't like super snipey, but I think it was like right around here. I was hoping to get like a little short reload zone fill. Oops. And then I didn't get this fill. And so when it rejected, I just shorted this breakdown. So we'll see how that goes. Otherwise, I think it's like 1% risk on my perp account, nothing crazy. Talk about Binance today. Binance seems to be buzzing in the news again. Not been a good year for Binance. What I'm seeing is they're losing market share to things like Bybit. And that's actually healthy for crypto. You don't want to see, no matter how cool Binance is. Now, just to be clear, because we talked about Binance on one of the other shows, and somebody was like, oh man, Binance FUD, that's so lame. I want to be abundantly clear. I bought Binance Coin, BNB, under $1 back in 2017. I was one of the first big fans. I went to the exchange to buy gas because NEO was pumping and gas was the gas token on NEO, and it was the only exchange you could get it on. And then I showed up and I saw that they had a coin that saves you fees. And I thought, damn, this is a real use case. And in my admittedly little experience at the time, I thought this is going to be a coin that people really want, because as traders, our bottom line is profit. Blah, blah, blah. I bought a big bag of BNB, big for my portfolio size at the time, something like 6,000 BNB. And I was in the Slack channel when we had a $1 party, when everyone was like, oh my God, we're going to hit $1, which is crazy to think about now, a long time later. BNB just in the depths of a bear at a paisley $200. So just to be clear, I'm a big fan of Binance, even after they kicked me out because I am in Canada. And that's probably what I see for them as a downside, right? I would be shocked. I think we should start this conversation by saying nobody knows. The people reporting on it, the people diving into it, the people researching it in depth don't know for sure what the reserves hold, blah, 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 all this FUD, Binance US. So there's no point in talking about what we know will happen. However, we can talk about what might happen. I think I would be shocked. I said I would be shocked if FTX was bankrupt, and then they were. But despite that, I would be shocked if they had this massive levered up position on BNB, where if they lose this key technical level, which is eerily similar to the FTT chart, if this gets taken back, because that is a vacuum. Let's be clear about that. From a technical perspective, if this level is lost, it should teleport fairly aggressively all the way down here. And so I would be shocked if that caused them to be, what's the word? Insufficient? Oh man, what's the I word? Not having enough money to back your deposits. Oh man, I'm telling you guys, I got dad brain to the max. Anyways, incongruent. No, what's the word? Somebody put it in the chat. I'll give you a high five. Appreciate it. You know the word I'm thinking of. Insufficient funds. Insolvent. Oh my God. There we go. I beat y'all in the chat. That's shameful. Y'all don't even have that many kids. I would be shocked if it caused them to be insolvent, because they just saw what happened to FTT. Also, I think CZ is kind of a genius. He's super smart. He's basically freaking Carmen Sandiego all over the world. Nobody can find him. Here's the thing. Nobody can find them. Nobody knows what their reserves are. They're very opaque, and that's not good. That's not good for crypto. That doesn't mean that they're insolvent, but it's just not ideal. Wouldn't you rather trade on an exchange that had legitimate proof of reserves and all this stuff? I think it's time for that. The fact that they can't produce it, and the fact that their auditor quit, and the fact that their executives from both sides are dropping like flies in broad terms. This is all smoke. And where there's smoke, there's usually fire. So what does that mean for crypto? First of all, I think it's very healthy that the volume is shifting towards other exchanges over time. That's the best way to transition out of a powerhouse dominance like Bitcoin, or excuse me, Binance. Did Binance have something like 60 to 80% market share at one point? I'm not sure the exact number, but they were a behemoth. And that's just not healthy for crypto. You want it to be decentralized in many ways, not only in its node infrastructure for various coins. Insolvent. Thank you, Caitlin Cook. You're late, but I appreciate you nonetheless. Maybe there's a stream delay. I'll give you a break. And so you want the power, the volume. Mt. Gox was terrible. It was made 10,000 times worse by the fact that it was pretty much the only game in town. So it really crushed the market. The more spreading out of volume and liquidity we can see across the board, the better. And in that sense, I do think that I foresee Binance to continue losing market share. I also think that the incumbents, the TradFi bros, who are very clearly positioning themselves to move into this market, are likely to not want to do that. If Binance is going to be their daddy, right? They want control. And so what strings can they pull to ensure that that happens? It's not just the US that say BlackRock might have influence over, or somebody else. What we're seeing right now is a refusal by lots of governments around the world to accept Binance's current state. We've got Canada banning them. We've got US users being banned. We've got the Netherlands. We've got Belgium. There is a handful of others, I'm sure. Those are the ones I have on the tip of my tongue. And that's sort of the FUD I would expect from Binance. I don't necessarily expect a massive rug. It could happen. I highly doubt it. It seems very improbable. But more likely that they just get squeezed into the fringes of society, because they are adhering to these demands from governments. They are stopping allowing users from certain locations. There's this like Palau residence ID that you can use to bypass if you trade personally instead of through a corp. And I think a lot of people are probably doing that. And then you've still got your VPN to worry about. But the fact is, to me, the most likely scenario, if Binance is going to slowly like decline into just like an average to medium to 50% market share or less, that's still pretty big, but it's more likely that they're just getting pushed out of jurisdiction after jurisdiction. And I agree with the take that it's likely that the ETF will struggle to get approved while Binance's cartel is running the show. The Binance cartel, if you believe in all that boogeyman stuff. So that's my take on it. So the question on the thumbnail was like, is it priced in? I would say absolutely not. I don't think anything about the outcome of what's going on with Binance could be priced in, because there is no outcome yet. I think it is slowly being priced in as we're seeing number go down, although that's not too unique to Binance. But like even just since April, it's basically just been on a downtrend since the little spring rally we had. It is resting at support. It is either an outstanding buy here against this FTX low, ironically, or it's going to likely, from a technical perspective, there's just nothing here. There's no objective reason for buyers of any size to step in there. And so I think it would be a pretty swift move down. Would that, I think the biggest problems are happening over at Binance US, which is totally unaffected by BNB. I don't even think they listed BNB. So what would it say to the market? Well, it would say, it would be like the death of the king. Binance has been king. Now, I don't know if you follow this guy or if you like what he has to say. I don't go up and down his feed, so maybe he's just a FUD-er. But there was a fairly objective thing pinned to his profile, and this is what got me kind of concerned, even though I'm not a user. So check out Travis Kling's. Check out Travis Kling's Twitter, and he has pinned basically every major negative news article about Binance that happened this year. And when you put it in that perspective, it's pretty concerning. And I think his point was kind of like, once you put it all together, it's kind of like there's something going on. Now, it doesn't mean, again, I don't think that this is where I draw conclusions and say like, well, they're so insolvent. My God. But it certainly means they're getting squeezed, and it may just be the end of an era, the end of the era of operating in opaque sort of jurisdictional mosaic where nobody quite knows where you operate, and you can't really be targeted by any law enforcement. I mean, it's just probably the end of that age. It makes sense to me that the next phase of crypto would be to be along traditional regulatory frameworks, which they don't exist yet. But first you got to kind of squeeze out the old to present room for the new. So coming down to my bets. If I was a betting man, I would say that Binance loses market share continually in the coming years, and that we haven't heard the end of the FUD. That would be my guess. From a trade perspective, ignoring all that, say that this latest talk of the SEC and all this stuff was like the bottom. Sell the news, sell the rumor, buy the news. From a technical perspective, we're not quite there yet, but this is actually a great location to think about longing this stuff. I'm not going to because of everything I just said, but I just want to acknowledge the fact that it is usually these peak FUD moments, peak fear moments where the best setups come in for tokens. It's a gamble. It always is. I'm not interested in BNB right now from a fundamental point of view because of this. I guess this is the way to look at it. Like I said, it either goes up from here or way down. So if they do have any spare capital, I remember there was some talk of them like selling Bitcoin to support BNB price. I don't know about that. It sounds like bullshit, but it is at a major support, the last major support before like $50. So I would expect, if there is such a thing as the Binance cartel, and if they have any power left in them, that this marks a low of sorts. Maybe I do want to buy some. You'd basically be betting on them having a war chest big enough and, brain power. Thank you. Brain power. People are still saying insolvent in the chat. I don't know if they're just yelling insolvent into the abyss now, or if they're still trying to help me find the word. Guys, I found the word. It only took me 37 seconds. So yeah, that's my take on Binance. I think based on last week's stream, or 2 weeks ago now, I guess, I still think we need a capitulation event. That's a super vanilla take, because that's basically just saying that, we're going to have a fractal play out. Let me find the chart. Ooh, GAN 2023. This is it. It's basically just saying we're going to have a fractal that plays out similar to last one, which why not? I can work with that because that's what I know. And if that did happen, this is a chart that I cooked up. Well, you guys know about the GAN. I talk about it quite a bit, but this is like some extra stuff on it that I cooked up while I was streaming with old Brian Beamish over at TRI 2 weeks ago. And we were just talking about the idea of this kind of forming a head and shoulders. Super premature. It isn't one until it is. But if it did do something like that and then broke this low, if that sort of setup did trigger that formation, then the measured move from head to neckline and then neckline down would be around 18,000, which would be kind of like a perfect Wyckoff check of this original W that marked the low to this point. So from a technical perspective, it'd be very clean. The fact that that could potentially like exist through this arc, which is in many cases where like price likes to just ride things down, which we saw back here. Kind of cool. We also saw it right here. Whoops. Just very recently, right here, and here, and here, and possibly here. And we also saw it a little bit looser, but right here, didn't really make it through the arc cleanly. It just chills through the arc and then blasts on the other side. Some resistance along here. So yeah, it's not perfect. Oh, this one's kind of cool. Look at this. The arc here was like crazy tight. What a cute little hug that was. Anyways, so arcs can act as resistance, so it all kind of fits in my brain when I see the potential for some sort of head and shoulders through that. And again, I wouldn't say like I'm going to sit here and trade a head and shoulders now. That just doesn't exist. But that's sort of what I might see coming up. That's what I see for coming up. That would be my perfect plan. You know, wash out my current little scalp short here, get everybody nice and frothy and bullish, maybe some good news to go with it into like the end of the year. October is a good month, which I do expect in many ways. And then just ride down through here, maybe chill. And then, you know, and so what is that event? What is that event that takes us? Because there is still a lot of tourists on board. There's still a lot of people that are convinced we're going to have another bull market. I think we need to get that number down. I'll probably stay pretty convinced we need another bull market, but we need to get the assumptions and we're starting to see things like the lost decade. Somebody shared in the chat I was in today, like somebody, I don't know, Alex Becker, I don't know who that is, but speculating like, guys, expect a bull, prepare for the bull, but also remember we could have a lost decade on our hands. Like that kind of talk is needing to be a little more mainstream before I think we're cleaned up. So is it some kind of Binance FUD? Is it some kind of Tether FUD? Tether's strong. I'm not too worried about Tether at all. Is it a nuclear explosion in Russia? Could catch everybody off guard. There's so much talk of it. I assume it won't happen, but that's dangerous thinking. Things do tend to escalate when wars are afoot. Is it recession? I actually hope it's recession. Like I hope it's just like, okay, we're officially in a recession, and then it's like, oh man, and then like that actually marks the low, because that's oftentimes how things go. When you announce a recession, everyone's fearing the recession, you get your dip, and then that's kind of the low. So anyways, this is the crypto loading dock or cycle loading dock that I've got scoped out. This would be the ideal entry for basically anything I want to shop for. I would be all in as much as I possibly could through this, not on leverage, because that's just how you end up all out. You know, you never know how low that could go. Does it make a new lower low? I don't know. But here's where I would just be placing all my bets. Until then, I'm just going to be small time trading, taking little scalps here and there, trying to play some levels. Mostly sitting on my hands, though. I half was thinking we should just make today's thumbnail how to sit on your hands, how to make them go numb. Because it's really hard. It's not easy to survive a bear market. There's a lot of temptation, all of it very weak, you know, very like there's a lot of really medium setups. I mean, this summer we had some cool shit going on chain, but still weak. Like it still wasn't like you could ape 500K into something and sell it for 4 million. Like it was low liquidity stuff. It's like, hey, I turned 2 ETH into 10. Like, hey, that'll pay your rent, but it's not the bull. Right? It's just something to keep us occupied. And obviously, in recent weeks, the inertia in the market has moved towards Friend.Tech. Now, Calio Crypto shared this on Twitter. So I pulled it up. It's basically just a way to chart key prices, which I think is cool because I don't have any idea how to judge based on random price movements, just, you know, on a ticker. I need to see a chart. And even if people aren't charting these, I know you get a lot of people like to think, you know, TA only works because people trade TA. It's like, look, if nobody looked at charts, a lot of this kind of levels and technicals would still work because it's a long story, but basically, you know, resistance forms because people buy at a bad time and then they go underwater, and the psychology of that dip, all that people think is I feel bad and stupid, and when I get back to break even, I'm going to sell. So it gets back to break even, and then they sell. That forms resistance. Same thing, back to break even, sell, back to break even, sell, and eventually you run out of those back to break even sellers. There's no sellers at this resistance level. New buyers step in, and we break out of resistance. And so, yeah, technicals work, and they work in the absence of people actually charting them. So eat it, haters. So this has been a nice breakout for Hxro. So I just pulled this up today because I thought I don't have too much to say about alts and BTC. I think they're all pretty melancholy right now. I mean, I take that back a little bit. I think we could see a pretty nice rally through October. I'd like to, so therefore we might. I haven't updated my green list. Just got back into town Friday, full-blown dad mode all weekend, and then yesterday catching up on everything. So I'm going to do a short list this week. I really want to get my eyes on some coins. Here's an old fun friend of ours, Spell Token, recently signing. Well, actually, I don't know if the agreement went through, so I'd keep an eye on their governance forums. But let's pull it up. Let's pull this up. There's an abracadabra. What's it called today? Recently? Oh God, where is it? We're gonna pull this up. Basically, they're getting a market maker, DWF Labs. Yeah, there it is. For token loan and purchase plans, basically saying we're going to come in, support the token, provide SCEX liquidity, and we want a big call option. We want to buy some at a nice discount, 15% off TWAP, and then lock it for 24 months, basically saying like we're going to, and that would come out of future spell emissions. So take some emissions, give them out to this group to come and provide extra liquidity for them. And it's just a nice bit of confidence. This includes some nice words about Spell. I think it just reminded people that, yeah, like through the bear, these guys have not depegged. Their system works. It is a decentralized stablecoin. And they had Luna and FTT, or excuse me, UST and FTT cauldrons and still didn't collapse. It's a crazy, impressive, resilient system for a decentralized stablecoin. Yo, have a hey, what's going on, dude? Bear market streams do hit different. And so, yeah, so Spell's picked up nicely in the time since that proposal was made. It is coming back up just above. Oh man, not even a penny yet. It's coming up on a penny. So this is an interesting technical reversal here. So just an idea to keep a name on it. There's no sign of a bottom just yet. Unfortunately, I wish there was. But it's just lower lows on the weekly, and this is a really nice spike on presumably good news. Somebody's like, hey, somebody's paying attention to us, and they want to help us and support us, and our token price, centralized exchange liquidity. Anyways, I think Spell could be an interesting dark horse, but as you guys know, I would really like to see bottoming take place over a period of years. So we need to see it come up and do what it's going to do. We need to see it come down and not make a lower low. Then we need to see it chill. And it could be that it's like sometime late 2024 where Spell becomes cool again. But it's not dead. So that's one that's on my short list here. On a weekly perspective, there's just not a lot to be excited about in these coins unless RT. You want to play these ranges, like Uniswap is kind of at the lows. So if we're just going to be in a washing machine cycle, totally normal for us to have a few weeks of up. So I guess that's what I'm hoping for. As far as like buying goes, the only thing I actually bought recently was HNT and some Spell a few days ago. I'm holding DESO. We've talked about DESO before. Basically a stable coin sitting at treasury value because they have like 2,500 Bitcoin in their treasury. They have 17 years of runway. And since it arrived at basically what is fair market value based on their backing. Now, I don't think you can take your DESO, cash them into the treasury and take a piece of that. So like, just be aware. But for whatever reason, markets are markets. It's hovering right at that price, which is interesting. So I got a bag of DESO. Not that I bought any. I bought some earlier this year, actually right around here, and it hasn't budged. So I'm still holding that. Solana. Let's check out Solana. Big fan. Had a squiggly going, as you can see here. Let's see how it's been going. For a little bit, it's actually worked pretty well. Just figured we would just trend down after losing this fat M top. Only this week has it really strayed from the path. But the bottom line is, it doesn't look like it needs to go anywhere fast. I think, I'm a little sad that I didn't just buy this, because this retest here, local 786, high time frame 618, really nice alignment. Like, there was 3 reasons to like have bids laying there, and they pipped perfectly. So clearly somebody saw all those levels, like me, and actually bought them. But as we correct this chart and head through this, the correction's either over, in which case we need to start an uptrend, in which case there will be a higher low at some point, or we're just coming into a big fat consolidation zone, sort of like we had here. Even in this case, off the lows, there was like a 6-day pullback. So not really worried about chasing anything on this Monday, Tuesday hype train, leading into some nice macro economic numbers and decisions. However, I am back at the desk, so I'm taking some scalps. I saw us coming into this arc. And even though we're pushing through, like, we got insta rejected right here. Insta rejected. And now we're kind of like day 2 not getting rejected. So probably the case where I finally took the little short against the GAN level. That's like not the one, but that's okay. It's okay by me. Did I delete this? Where'd my shit go? I think it's over here. Oops. Yeah. So I guess the question I would pose to you guys in the chat is, what tangible steps have you taken to improve your odds of success for whatever comes next? I like to say the coming bull. I'm going to still say that, but I feel like when I give up that sentence and just say whatever comes next, we're closer to the bottom. So thank me later. But check in with yourself, figure out what it is you can do to prepare yourself. Basic, obvious things are like getting a lot of sleep, getting good sleep routine. What I did, so 2018, after that bear, or after the bull, I took out, I didn't make as much, but I did make a decent amount, especially for a teacher at the time. I pulled out like six figs, like low 6 figs. And I went and I bought little Honda Civic, upgraded from my 2006. And I went and I bought some like Tony Robbins type tickets. They weren't Tony Robbins, but it was just some like big conference thing where you sit in monstrous crowds and people get up on stage. Like A-Rod was there. One of those things where they just bring in big names to do motivational speeches and then sell you on like shitty like REIT and like real estate lean investing and all this crappy stuff, covered call options strategies, and like just cheesy stuff. And I sat down, I spent like $400 in the ticket. I sat down and the crowd was so big and it was filled with such a crowd, like the types of people that were there. I was just like, damn, I am in the wrong place. This is not where I'm going to find my alpha, but this is my process. I went there, I learned that. I actually walked out of one of the smaller like covered call options selling sessions because I was just like, this dude is a cheese ball. It was such a clear upsell where he was like, here's a strategy where you can just cut out 10% gains, a month or whatever. But at the end of the day, the upsell was like, if you really want to go for it and trust in yourself, you've got to buy private time with me at $10,000. So it was just stupid. Anyways, fast forward a few years. It's a bear market. I'm still looking for ways to put capital to work to, self-improvement. Hired Elliott Rowe, did that mindset coach stuff. It's incredibly powerful stuff. It's expensive. And then I went to the mountain and did his mastermind session. It was expensive, but it was valuable. I'm building the network. I'm building the skills, building the mindset for success. There's not expensive things you can do too. So I would check in with yourself, figure out what you want to do. If you just kind of like toe the line and just kind of keep doing what you're doing, you're going to end up with similar results. And if you had great results in 2021, then good for you. Just keep doing what you're doing. I had great results in 2021, but a lot of it still left me wanting, still imperfect. And that's the goal, right? I don't know if the goal should be perfect, but like the goal is to be as close to the best consistent good decisions as you can make, right? That's all it is. because you can't be perfect as a trader. In fact, trying to be perfect as a trader is a great way to get analysis paralysis and just chopping yourself up out of good trades. So I take that back, but like perfection on the good decision-making front. So yeah, in that sense, feeling very uncomfortable as we push higher here. I saw some bear divs and I saw that trend line that we talked about earlier. Don't know why I'm not seeing it on this chart, but it's right here. Oh, it's a little different. Different on Coinbase. Anyways, I think it's weird that we kind of rallied up so hard and aggressively into some possibly negative events or just like uncomfortable volatile events. So for me to be interested in positioning my cash, because I shared with you guys here sort of like the place where I want to get that cash back into play for the longer term. For me to do that here, to be invalidated, saying, hey, we're probably not going to go down lower, I'd want to get on the other side of this trend line and form a W. And then be like, okay, cool. Like this downtrend's over. Technically, this trend is broken. We're back into an uptrend. And yeah, maybe we just go sky high and I miss it. Highly unlikely. Much more likely that there's just some chop there. And there's a way for me to position myself before whatever comes next if we don't just, break these lows sometime. So that's my plan. I think the best thing I could do is to just DCA and stop overthinking it at all and just say like every month or every major dip or every daily bull div on a new low we ever get, I'm just going to add 10% of my bags. But for now, I'm not doing that. Oh, we don't even have the chart up. That's friggin' awesome. Sorry, guys. Where's my flow mate? There it is. Okay. Well, we were talking about this downtrend line and www.breakthroughthetrendline.com. If you do get through this trend, kind of like the bottom line is it's very simple to just be bearish during a downtrend. That's the safest way to be. I think expecting this to be the end of that move was a pretty cool piece of analysis. If I do say so myself, I didn't trade it the way I would have liked to, but the daily bull div coming in there was pretty strong signal. For the record, the algo is long. I don't talk about the signals on the day of the signals because that would be like selling TRI short. But the algo remains long. Let's take a peek at the latest bit of data. Yeah. So red crossing blue is the long signal. So we got that on September 14th, which is right here, somewhere around there. So that's the latest signal. And it's just hovering right now above blue. So if it does have if we have a down day or something, it'll cross back below and that'll be a sell signal. So it's not quite broken out. And as you can see, there's a bit of chop happening here. Sell signal, buy signal, sell signal, buy signal. Typically during the uptrend this year, this thing smacked and it stayed long through lots of up moves. It got short before a few nuke days. So I've been really enjoying just trading in the direction of this as I'm short while it's long. Yes, I know. So I just broke my own rule, but that's only because I saw my arc here and I've really never traded this chart. And I've talked about it so much, I decided I'm going to take a shot. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not even one to be like, oh, FOMC tomorrow, we have to go down. But it is a little sus to rally into that. Let's be honest, guys. It's a little sus. And to be abundantly clear, my take on the Nasdaq is that it looks like shit. I was saying to somebody on the weekend, I'm not a Nasdaq trader. I don't even have an instrument that I could access to do it, at least not one that's set up or funded. But to have this like fat M top breakdown and then to trade up into the reload zone of that, and then to have sort of another big M top kind of fail, and now to trade into the reload zone of that to me looks really cooked. As far as like, doesn't mean it has to go down, but that's where I would be looking to short. So this is the neckline breakdown level here, and we're just kind of like trading below it after a market structure fail. So the only thing that this chart shows me that's strong is this like fat key reversal, super bearish signal. And then it just like sprung up 3 days later. So that was interesting. It's like the only bit of somewhat bullish stuff going on here, but I would not be shocked to see this thing suck sometime into this midwinter. But I'm not going to trade that, but it's just a little bit of thoughts on why I'm like, leaning a little more bearish here. And this has not been easy to trade, right? The breakout on a Monday morning, BART Monday afternoon, chill, sweep those highs, reject, sweep those highs again, each one with less and less momentum, bear div, right? And so I saw that, and then I saw it starting to break down. I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to get short here because we have some stuff coming up this week, and if it ends up running back to the lows or anywhere down, I want to have a little bit of a hedge on. So that's where I'm at. Check the chat. Goal is to make wife changing money. Yeah, not for me. I got a wife. I love her. But yes, if you don't love your wife, you probably want to make some wife changing money. GMX looks good. Vol has been picking up the last days. Let's take a look at GMX. I think I had a chart here on Chart Trader Pro. Poor Juno, man. What a cool story it was for like 4 weeks. Yeah, let's see. Take off log because it always looks weird. Yep, GMX is in the reload zone. Nobody's really infatuated with it anymore. There's a lot of competitors out. There's a lot of on-chain DEX dilutors using other things. Better options coming along, and that is great news for people who like to buy dips, because that's the kind of shit that causes something like GMX, the darling child of much of this year, running highs into April, breaking out into price discovery. Yeah, if you're a trader and you just think, well, they're here, where they're one of the incumbents, they're not going to go anywhere, like this is the general area on the chart. You want to start getting excited about it. HMX is another one that's good, came out on Arbitrum. There's literally like 100 now, but HMX is one that stands out to me. Let's go take a look. First of all, my bot matrix is getting rinsed. Another fat down day for UNIBOT. So is it the case that nobody gives a shit about trading bots and it was all just a ruse because number went up? I don't think they're dead. I've used them, and a number of people I have used, spoken to, use them and enjoy them. But yeah, it's like kind of like I talked about on stream a number of times, that it's going to take some time. You don't just like come up and then come down and then go up. It's just not the market for that. It's much more likely that it's like, forget all about it. Bots are dead and then go. Whatever that looks like. I think none got exploited. So we can probably take my chart off that. And that's a really nice example of why to take free positions. Because I had none. I had some, none. And I sold enough to get my money back plus a little profit. And now the bag I'm holding went from being worth like 3K to like $600. But I don't care because it was a free position and I locked some profit in. So that's especially shitcoining on screen, on chain. That's the way to do it. And this is a good example of why. That's not to dance on any graves. Shout out to the Nun team. If you're not just slow rugging and you actually got exploited, that's cool. Sorry to hear that. But if you're slow rugging, shame on you. Again, no low chart, going to look extra wrecked because it really should be applied to the YOLO chart, where the support was actually somewhere down here. So in a way, the market dynamic on this one's unique. We talked about that a few weeks ago. Check the chat. Not giving up on NOLO. I've still got a huge amount staked and LP'd and want to trade there. Me personally, I'm waiting to trade there till there's some stop losses in place. That's my honest take. I've spoken to the dev. Flowmatic API is coming up with such a tool, and it will be available on there, and then I will be using it more. Also, when I want to trade perps more. Right now, I'm not really trading perps. A lot of people are, though, and otherwise, NOLO is a pretty dope tool. If I do say so myself, getting better by the day. House, another one I've got a free position in. Thankfully, not looking good. I did actually add back some here, so it's not as free as it was. It's still a free position. Just the profit that I had taken on top of that free position is a little bit diluted now. But, I was hoping this thing would start doing well into football season and sports betting going live. I don't know what's going on. I have no insight into that. I'm going to take a look at it after this show. And that's that. Those are kind of the on-chain ones I'm looking at. I don't expect too much heat in this area at all until UNIBOT comes back. We do have the banana token launch that took place while I was away. I was actually around for the initial launch, and I almost bought into it. I tried to a couple times. I got failed transactions because, bots. And I'm really glad I did, because it basically rugged. They had an issue. They had a bug. And I saw something. It was really awkward. It was like, hey, we did 2 audits. And then somebody posted the code in Chat GPT, and it found a bug that none of the audits caught. And it was just like, this is awkward. Anyways, they relaunched. They chilled at $8 for 3 days. And then now they've rallied to about 11. But the FDV is crazy high for me. Just at $100 million. And so, with Unibot and the bot hype dying, I don't know, maybe I'm mid-curving it and this thing rallies like crazy, but it's certainly not the kind of shitcoin I want. I want shitcoins that are trading sub 5 million if I'm going to be on chain doing the dirt, the grease. What's my upside at 27 mil market cap, 112 mil market cap? Lucky to get a 2x. Possibly there was a 2x available here. Let's see. I don't even think there was if you sniped and sniped. Still only 68%. So I was never really excited about banana. It just seemed too not diluted, but saturated for a launch, too anticipated. Not really where you find the alpha. 100,000 people are waiting for something to launch and rushing to buy it. You're typically just not in a good place. Now, if their metrics increase and look good and tight token price just chills and sucks and everyone forgets about it in 3 months, call me up. Let's talk about banana. That's where, when the plebs who rush the gate are all out and they've all sold and they've lost money and they've capitulated, and then there's still something cooking in Banana Town, boom, I'm interested again. For now, that whole launch just smelled like shit. As far as me trying to capture some impressive upside. Yeah. Stoyan says he has the impression that there isn't many coins outperforming Bitcoin right now. I would agree. There's going to be exceptions. Friend.Tech keys are doing pretty well. I have a few, made a couple ETH, haven't cashed out, so haven't made anything, I guess. But, I'm valued up a couple ETH in my little Friend.Tech portfolio. It's kind of cool, but I think that thing is going to and it's very blatantly a big, massive, farming campaign, right? It's my friend took points and then there's going to be a coin. It's let's see. I don't know. I don't want to shit on it. Some people hold my keys. I hold some of the keys, but I'm going to give you my hot take. There's 6 months, a fairly known window of time where you can accumulate these points. And it's very unknown at which point accounts who have accumulated said points will just decide to sell the news upon the points coming out. And it's so blatant to me that it's just hey, let me see how I can game this thing to maximize point generation, to maximize my key price. And I just think that catalyst dies a very aggressive death closer to the airdrop date, if that's what it ends up being. I'm pretty sure it's confirmed. So does that mean Friend.Tech dies? No, but it means it will probably, especially if we rally consistently somewhat through the next few months, which I would love to see, by the way. Don't get me wrong. I am farming Friend.Tech points, albeit a little bit lazily. Just don't be the last one holding the bag into that airdrop. I think that airdrop is likely to wash out the entire thing, and then you got to go through your own little mini bear market within that little eco. So that's my 2 cents. And then the question is does that stickiness prevail? Because again, it's in beta, right? It may come out with maybe more features. Those keys may give you more things later. It could evolve. But my take right now is that there's just this horny point acquisition energy that is going to disappear as quickly as those points do when the airdrop comes and the tokens are sold for profit. And then, so that makes me uncomfortable if I was going to make a big bet on that. I am making a small bet on it because I think it's exciting. And I actually do like connecting with the people that I've hold their keys. Keyboard Monkey, I really enjoy his content. I like when I say shit in people's channels that they give me a shout back, and there's all this engagement. And in some cases, you're getting invited out to separate rooms and telegrams that have a little more staying power. So it's no doubt a very sticky, fun tool. Let's just call a spade a spade. It's an airdrop farming situation right now. And then that airdrop has a date roughly set. And there's going to be a sell the news event sometime leading up to that, where it's like, hey, I've farmed enough points and I'm just ready for this thing. Oh man, keys are starting to tank. Get out. That's markets, baby. So which point of that are we at? Let's go look at Racer's coin. Nope, that's his wallet. Let's go look at the key. Oh man, it's an M top. We made a high, we made a low, we made a lower high, and now we've made a lower low. I wonder if this guy's coin or key could be like a good indicator of overall market health. Probably not. It's probably pretty mid-curve thought, but I'm excited to see how this thing evolves. I'm not adding any more money into it. I'm going to probably buy more keys with the ETH I have in it and just kind of be like, hey, I'm 5 ETH involved. It's worth 7 now. I've got 2 or 3 more to deploy. Like I said, being pretty lazy. I think I'll wait till the next time someone shits on Friend.Tech and everyone stops buzzing about it on Friday nights. And then I'll deploy a couple ETH, and then we'll go into that airdrop zone. And probably a month before any kind of talk of the airdrop happening, I would just cut bait and run for a bit, and then only hold the keys at that. So here's the thing: there's keys that I won't sell because I enjoy the interactions I'm having with those people. But let's be honest, there's a fuckload of keys people are just buying because number go up, and they hold multiples of them, and they're just, man, it's all good, man. It's going up. Have your fun, but don't get twisted into thinking that they won't sell as soon as they sniff violence. It's going to be a bumpy ride through that airdrop, and I'm here for it, dude. I think I'm going to get some points, and I'm going to sell them for some monies, and then we'll see how much I go back and stick around. I think I will stick around, certainly to interact with other people's keys. I always get nervous when people hold my keys. I feel like this pressure to talk. If you do hold my key right now, just be aware that you are not my priority. I love you, but you're not my priority. I got kids. I got a bank account. I got a trade account. But I'm going to drop as much of the ready-made alpha I have for you because you hold my key. But I'm not like these top holders that are like, I curate key data 12 hours a day. I love the hustle, but that's never going to be me. So just be aware of that. Don't sell your lunch money for my keys. But I'll be around. Okay. My rant is complete. I've gotten that off my chest. I no longer feel guilt for not having posted on Friend.Tech today. UNIBOT has to get 30 to 40 before I jump in. Yeah. Yep. James Miller says UNIBOT at 35 to 40 is a hot buy, and he doesn't think it'll be dead at any level. And this is probably just going to be a dope product that exists and continues to generate revenue. And I 100% agree with that take. I used UNIBOT X. It's a very pleasant way to trade on chain, albeit a little riskier than holding your own wallet. And I don't want to think about what would happen if there was such an exploit that all the keys being held by UNIBOT or any other bot just got nailed. But that's why we don't go all in, folks. Manage risk, play from strength, yada, yada, yada. It's been great vibing with you guys today. I've got to run. It's good to be back. Sorry if I sound tired and I got a little cough today. I'm not sorry, but I'm aware. Let's put it that way. You guys have been great today. Thank you for coming by the stream. I hope something I said set you on a brighter path. We can end with some wise words. I was going to drop the tagline. It's too early for that. Really, though, guys, keep your heads up. This is a tough part of the market. It could be the beginning of an upswing. Very, very possible that it's a continued upswing here over the next 2-3 weeks. I was saying through September, I'd expect to see some October, November interest in the market again as we head into maybe like tax selling and all the bullshit, and then some shitty start to the next year, which I think, fractally speaking and practically speaking, would mark the lows before the next bear market, whatever that looks like, whatever kind of capitulation, if there needs to be one. I think there does. So I'm just, everything I just said, just kind of chilling, trying to focus on what I can do to improve myself for the next 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Here's the crazy thing. Y'all want to hear something crazy? I think eventually, or I know eventually, that the 4-year cycles will break, right? Right now, we've had some really cool 4-year cycle stuff to work with. Eventually, it's going to break. So it's either going to break to the downside, where we stay down longer for lower, crypto equal dead, whatever, or just prolonged, the lost decade. I don't believe that, but it's possible. So it's either that's going to happen or it's going to break to the upside, much like the post.com bubble boom, where Amazon, like woo, chill, and then just basically went on a 20-year up only thing. I think eventually we move into that or the other one. 4-year cycles is something of the infancy of crypto, and eventually we break into something much more sustained. And I don't know. I got this feeling that that's where the next bull that we're going to see is like this adoption bull market, where even the savviest of profit takers at the top in 2025 maybe end up getting left behind. Now, don't get it twisted. I will be taking profit throughout any kind of bull market we get. But it just seems like everyone is so ready now to be the profit taker at the end of 2025. And we just have so many fundamental things coming into play from a build perspective, an adoption perspective, a growth perspective, that's why I'm never going to leave through whatever happens this year, next year, any kind of lows, any kind of shit, because on the horizon, I feel very strongly that we're heading into a multi-year adoption curve-esque explosion in crypto, the super cycle. I don't think it's bullshit. And despite me being in a small short position right now, I just want you to know that. Have a great day, guys. Appreciate having you here today. And I'll be back on Thursday with the squad. So stay tuned for that. And whatever you do from now until then, always play from a position of strength. I'll see you later.